What's up, good people? Welcome to another episode of Shaniqua Speaks. On Shaniqua Speaks, we have difficult conversation. We value truth over trend and principle over opinion. We say difficult things. I say difficult things all the time, things that challenge me and things that challenge others. So understand where I'm coming from. It's not to tear down, not to destroy or denigrate, but to build up or to challenge us to think in another way. God has God has graced us in such a way that I think we don't live up to even half of the measure of the fullness of God. And we sometimes we allow a lot of life to come in and experiences that we have to just kind of like cause our worldview to be shaped by simply that the world and not the word of God or not the spirit of truth. So, with that being said, let's get into a couple of videos, a couple of there were actually two videos I'm going to react to. Both of them about our sister Jasmine Crockett. As you can see, the first video here, we're going to watch it if I can get through it without talking. Y'all know me, I talk too much, but it is what it is. Um, let's get into it. Let's see what the sister is talking about. Do me a favor. Follow me on all of my social media platforms. Follow me, subscribe on YouTube, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, all of those platforms. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's have this conversation together. Let's look at this first video, y'all.
Reason why people did not want Jasmine Crockett to win, it isn't policy, y'all. It's not her experience and it's not her incompetence. It's about two things, y'all. It's race and it's gender. Because to this country, a black person winning is already too much, y'all. But y'all put a black woman winning, that's double the threat, double the hate. And y'all know what's even sadder and even sicker and even more sadistic?
Parental advisory. Parental advisory. She's going to use some strong language that you may not be used to. But we don't want to throw away the entire message because of the strong language. So just plug your ears because you might not want to hear what she's going to say because she's going to say much. Now, for me, everything she said prior to this was, profane, but that's neither here nor there. Parental advisory.
You've got black men online tearing Jasmine down for her wigs, weave, lashes, ghetto, being loud, throwing her under the bus, doing the goddamn work of white supremacist ideology for free. Still competing with black women, still trying to police them, still not realizing that her winning is not a loss for you, it is a win for an entire race. We throw that word around ghetto, but what exactly is ghetto? And how come it don't stick to white folks when they do the same goddamn thing? Because when black folks talk loud, dress bold, wear wigs, weave lashes, it's called unprofessional, too hood. But when white folks turn around and cosplay and do the same thing, that same behavior, it's relatable, it's authentic, it's quirky, and it's shared and it's celebrated. Same behavior, different skin, different type of judgment. So now, this backlash isn't about standards. It's about who they think is allowed to lead. And until we stop internalizing white superiority and projecting it back on black women, we'll keep sabotaging our own race and our own.
Out of all of what she said, there is one thing that is very true. You have to internalize superiority. You have to accept the fact that somebody is superior to you. If you reject it, you don't see it. But you have to accept, swallow, allow, embrace white superiority. I don't believe anybody is superior to me. That's because I'm not in competition with anybody. Because in my mind, me and God are the majority. And if God be for me, who can be against me? So there is no competition. I'm not comparing myself to anyone because no one compares. Who can be Shaniqua? Nobody. All they can be is a horrible carbon copy when I am the authentic original. I'm not saying that to make myself seem great. I'm saying that because that is what is true. That is what is true for you. Who can beat you being you? There is no competition. I don't you I don't put myself up against anybody. I don't put myself up against you. You shouldn't put yourself up against anybody because it's going to be an utter defeat because you are you and nobody can beat you being you. So the one thing she said was very, very true. Now let's go back through this video and chop up what she's saying. First things first, all bets off. This is not a biblical worldview. Her worldview is completely shaped on the civil rights struggle. Notice in the beginning of the video, she called out gender, she called out race. Those are civil rights categories. Let's go at it again.
The reason why people did not want Jasmine Crockett to win, it isn't policy, y'all. It's not her experience and it's not her incompetence. It's about two things, y'all. It's race and it's gender. Because to this country, a black person winning is already too much, y'all.
Here's the fatal flaw with what she said. Barbara Jordan. I'm gonna keep going.
But y'all put a black woman winning, that's double the threat.
Barbara Jordan. Okay.
Double the hate. And y'all know what's even sadder and even sicker and even more sadistic? You've got black men online tearing Jasmine down for her wigs, weave, lashes, ghetto, being loud, throwing her under the bus.
So I'm assuming that first of all, I can assume many things about her just based on listening at this lady and the conversation she's having, but I'm not going to throw out my assumptions because I God is working on me. If you say something crazy in the comments, you say something slick in the comments, I'm gonna come right back. I'm gonna match your energy, and that's not what it is because God is great and He's working on me, and I'm gonna submit to that. But don't expect rainbows and lily pads. Always class, always dignity, but you can take this strong check-in that I'm gonna give you. So, if black men are going off on Jasmine Crockett because her wigs, weaves, lashes, blah 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 blah, um, can they not have a preference or can they not have an idea about how they want a woman to show up representing the black race? Black men don't get a say. That's probably why they're marrying white women. Because we think nobody can tell us anything as black women. We become hardened by life and we're not allowing anything to come in and help us and heal us and move us forward so that we can be all God intended us to be. I saw a young man post a status where he said black women don't understand the power of femininity. Femininity is far more important and powerful than feminism. Femininity is far more powerful and important than feminism. But there were some circumstances that conditioned a lot of black women. And at the end of the day, it's the civil rights movement. It conditioned us, moved our men outside of the home, changed the entire structure of our families. We are now the leaders of our families, not me anymore. I told God, I told God, I said, God, listen, I allowed these three girls that you gave me, I allowed them to see me do many things wrong. But the one thing I want, the one thing I desire is I desire my daughters to see me in a healthy, loving relationship because they saw me in bad ones. I wanted them to see the natural order of God as much as possible and how relationships can work. Guess what? That requires me being quiet sometimes. It's difficult and it's a work that God is doing in me, but I don't reject that it's something that God wants to do in me. So the fact that black men have something to say about Jasmine Crockett and her wigs, her weaves, her lashes, and how she presents ha, 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 in Congress. Quite honestly, black women should have had a conversation with her. But there are too many people that are like her to have a very, very transparent and honest conversation with her. But go off, sis.
Doing the goddamn work of white supremacist ideology for free. Still compete.
Doing the work of white supremacist ideology. Black men are doing the work of white supremacist ideology. Wigs, weaves, lashes. Wigs, weaves, lashes. Wigs, weave, lashes. Black women can have all kinds of hair. I have three daughters with very, very long hair. The hair that comes out of their head is naturally curly. And they have to go through a process for it to be straightened, right? Um, I, I, I'm struggling with you talking about black men because they have a preference or because they would like to see Jasmine Crockett show up in a specific way. I'm struggling with the idea of them saying that being the work of white supremacy, and we're talking about wigs, weaves, and lashes. Are those also not components of white supremacy? Not saying that we can't do things to, make ourselves beautiful or do whatever we want to do to dial ourselves up. Of course, we can do those things. I love a good weave. I love a good lash. I love a good, all of those things. But that's not necessarily what men like. And at the end of the day, when I go look in the mirror, I want to like how I look, and I definitely want Damon to like how I look. Let's keep going.
With black women, still trying to police them, still not.
This is feminism at its finest. This lady is saying that black men are trying to police black women. I guarantee you, at the same time, she will be a black woman that says that black men don't protect black women. Make that make sense. If you want somebody to protect you, in essence, they have to police you. They have to tell you, oh no, don't go right, go left. Oh no, don't step over there. Oh no, don't do that. They have to police you in some ways. I don't understand how we want to be protected and not be policed at the same time. Okay.
Realizing that her winning is not a loss for you, it is a win for an entire race.
Who says or who thinks that a black woman, but why do we think black men are in competition with us? I don't know. It's weird. You can't compete with a man because I'm not a man. I mean, I don't even compete with another woman. Any man in like including my husband, any man that has ever dated me, never, ever, ever was I ever jealous of another woman. That's not how you're gonna get my attention by having a woman come around. Cause oh, okay, that's what you like. Go off, enjoy. Cause what you don't want, if that's what you want, that means you don't want a Shaniqua, and that's fine. That's cool. Trust me, it don't make me no never mind. It clears the calendar. Is what it does. But the whole competition thing, no. Why do we believe that black men are in competition with us? I don't know, but okay.
We throw that word around ghetto, but what exactly is ghetto? And how come it don't stick to white folks?
Oh, I'm sure you know what ghetto is. You know, but okay.
when they do the same goddamn thing. Because when black folks talk loud, dress bold, wear wigs, weave lashes, it's called unprofessional. Too hood.
Who calls black people unprofessional because they wear wigs, weaves, and lashes? Now, if you wear listen, there is a certain thing as being appropriate for the environment that you're in. If I work in corporate America, I can absolutely wear a weave in corporate America. I should not be in corporate America wearing a purple weave or a purple wig. If I'm in corporate America, of course I can wear some nice short lashes. I should because I should want to present a certain way. But I should not wear something that is going to be sweeping the top of my glasses every time I look up and down. That's appropriate for the strip club. That's appropriate if I work in the beauty supply. That's appropriate if I work in the hair and makeup industry. It's not appropriate in a corporate setting. I will call Congress, or at least it used to be when Barbara Jordan and Shirley Chisholm were there. It used to be a corporate setting. Now, what it is, I'm not sure. But nobody's calling anybody ghetto for wearing wigs, weaves, and lashes. You're overstating something. You're exaggerating something. Now you come up here with a purple wig or a blue wig, and they talk about accept me and DEI. Then that's a whole other conversation. That's no, no.
But when white folks turn around and cosplay and do the same thing, that same behavior, it's relatable.
Here we go, comparing ourselves to people. Here we go. She talking to, she's talking about people bowing down to white supremacy, all while entertaining it herself. She's saying she's comparing. Oh, it's accepted when white people are doing it, but it's unacceptable when. But no, it's not. It's not unless the person has been raised in that neighborhood, unless they've been conditioned like that's their environment. If they're a product of their environment, then oh, okay, it is what it is. But who is applauding that? Who is not me and not other people? I mean, I'm sure somebody probably applauds it. I don't know, but for the most part. And at the end of the day, it's not why Jasmine Crockett didn't win. But okay.
It's authentic, it's quirky, and it's shared and it's celebrated.
No, it's
Same
not.
behavior, different skin,
No, it's
different
not.
type of judgment.
No.
So now, this backlash isn't about standards. It's about who they think is allowed to lead.
It's not about standards. It's not even backlash. It's Texas voted and Texas decided they wanted James Tallarico. James Tallarico campaigned in a very, very different way than Jasmine Crockett campaigned. They actually, in all honesty, they chose the more cunning, crafty candidate. Jasmine Crockett is not cunning and she is not crafty. I would say this: her and Donald Trump are alike in two different in certain ways. Here's one: they both say whatever come out of their mouth. They both say whatever is in their mind comes out of their mouth. So there would be no secrets with her because it's gonna fly out of her mouth. They want somebody cunning, crafty, and able to deceive. She is not able to deceive.
And until we stop internalizing white superiority and
She already
projecting
has.
it back on black women, we'll keep sabotaging our own race and our own.
We're not sabotaging our race by internalizing white superiority. We are destroying our race by blaming white people for things that they have absolutely no control over. The whole idea of white supremacy implies that you, as a Black American, don't believe that Black Americans sit in positions of authority. When that, I mean, nothing could be further from the truth. 2 plus 2 is going to always equal 4. In most major cities, it is full of riddled with black leadership. Those are people who sit in seats of authority. What are you talking about? I understand that you may be passionate about her not winning, and this was recorded some time ago. I'm sure you all have seen this video. It's cycled through quite a few times. I'm just not responding to it because of the next video. I figured out I'd knock both of them out. But it has nothing to do with anything this lady is talking about. However, she is impassioned and she is enraged because, she is deep in a civil rights struggle. She probably has a "We Shall Overcome" poster somewhere. Very, very not far. Okay, let's look at the next video. Let's look at what Dr. Umar has to say about Jasmine Crockett and her not winning her election. Oh gosh, where is it? Let's get to it, people. Dr. Umar, ladies and gentlemen.
Jasmine Crockett, how you feel about her losing? You got some people that feel like, she was more focused on being a celebrity.
I think, and I love and support my sister Jasmine Crockett. I haven't met her, but I love and support her.
You know what's sad in Black culture? You have to say something like that as a precursor when you get ready to bring correction. He's saying that I love and support my sister because he's getting ready to bring some correction and bring some insight other than she's wonderful, she's amazing, she's a rock star, she is, oh my God, black, 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 black. That's why he made that statement.
Obviously, there's some contradictions there. You just mentioned some of them. I don't think the contradictions are unique to Jasmine Crockett. I think the contradictions are unique to all members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Okay. First of all, every member of the Congressional Black Caucus is financed by white interests.
Interesting. Do you know that what's my homegirl's name? The senator out of Texas, Barbara Jordan. Barbara Jordan did not engage or involve herself with the National Black Caucus. You want to know why? Barbara Jordan prided herself on being a politician to all people. And when asked about it, she sat next to two black men and she made a statement where she said, "You will do more for your people than showing up everywhere being a knee jerk black." Barbara Jordan was one of the people to make sure that Mexican Americans or uh, Latino Americans were included in the civil rights bill. Was that the civil rights legislation? I know that she helped. She did some work with making sure that Latino Americans were included in legislation. She's the senator out of Texas.
Let me just say that. There is no black person on Capitol Hill who is not financed by white money. So if you wonder why they don't do much for us, look no further than who pays them.
Here's another question I ask. Why are black people looking for politicians to do something for black people? Why? Why wouldn't a black person or an American be looking for a candidate who will do something for Americans? When you are a black person who is looking at your possible political choice to see what they're going to do for black people, do you know what you do? You make yourself vulnerable. Here's how you make yourself vulnerable: because there's no money backing you. Every minority group or people group that have had legislation pushed on their behalf had money backing them. It's only black people that want welfare in politics, meaning we just want somebody to do something for us simply because we want something done for us. But we have no interest, no revenue, no greenbacks, no political power that will back us. Not that I believe in that, because again, I'm American, so I look for politicians who are going to do things for America, for America as a whole. Okay.
Now,
For the record, that puts us in trick bags. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. When people begin to look for things to be done, especially for Black Americans, based on race, you look at what has been done for Black Americans based on race, and you tell me what those outcomes are. I need you to get past the offense, okay? Look at outcomes.
Jasmine Crockett did a lot of standing up and fighting for the migrants and the immigrants. She stood and fought for them so much, Art, that I would say they had an obligation to support her on election day in the primary. And guess what, Art? They did not. They
We're in a very, very different political climate. So my question becomes, to his statement, she did a lot of fighting for immigrants. I wonder what that means. Like, does that mean she pushed legislation for immigrants? She was at oversight committee meetings arguing and saying vile things. Is that what fighting means? What does fighting mean? Like, taking to the streets protesting? Because true fighting is changing policy, not yelling, hooting, and hollering about it. Anybody can yell, hoot, and holler and be a fake justice warrior. But true change happens when policy is changed. So, what policy changes did she make for immigrants? Which is very, very separate from illegal immigrants. Jasmine Crockett also said some very, very disparaging things about this people group who Dr. Umar feels owed some allegiance to her.
came out for the white man instead of the black woman who fought for them. What is the message, Art? And I'm not surprised. Jasmine Crockett might be surprised. I'm not surprised.
You want to know why they came out for the white man? Because he was more palatable. He was more cunning. He was more crafty. And if they came out for him, like her voting base, her the people that she advocated for are in an illegal status. Like based on what I saw. We're talking about ICE, right? So those are people who are illegal immigrants. And while we know they have picture ID, some of them, and some of them have social security cards, and they can vote because all you need is a picture ID. And that's why the SAVE Act is important. It will basically be legal immigrants, those that are in a protected status that will vote. And apparently, they have very different values than Jasmine Crockett. They align more with James Tallarico. And I'm gonna hold my comment because I'm gonna go deep with this too.
Because if you study the history of America, immigrants do not have a history of standing with black people.
My.
You will get white people
Here
to
it comes.
stand with you before immigrants are. Chinese have never stood with black people. Arabs have never stood with black people. Latinos have never stood with black people. East Indians have never stood for black people. Show me an immigrant group that has ever come to this country to stand with black people except
Hear me now and hear me good. Immigrant communities have not stood with black people. Let me make sure this mic is. I'm gonna shove it down my throat. I'm gonna give myself a um throatoscopy so I can make sure this comes out real good. Immigrants do not stand with black people because you know what immigrants master doing? They master coming to America and becoming Americans. Immigrants don't understand the struggle of black people, not because they haven't gone through it, but because they don't understand how you can be in this country for this length of time and not get where you got to go. Immigrants have mastered coming to America and becoming Americans. It's only Black America, it's only Americans that are Black that were conditioned by the civil rights movement to see themselves as outsiders in a country that they built. You were conditioned to see yourself as an illegal alien in a country that you built. You haven't mastered being American, and immigrant populations have. So they sit back and they look at you like you ain't got good sense because they don't understand why the math ain't mathing. They came over here first generation and they're now millionaires. They're now wealthy. When they come over here, we think they stay in the Ritz Carlton. Do we think that they have it all together? Do we think that they are coming over with a silver spoon? Like what do we think? So that's why we don't have immigrant support. Immigrants have mastered coming over to America, becoming American. Black people haven't. Black people have been conditioned not to be Americans for a reason. And it wasn't by America. It was the civil rights movement that did it.
our Caribbean African immigrant brothers and sisters. They have a history of standing with us more than anybody else. The Caribbean African immigrants have the strongest history of standing with Black America, but not these other groups. So Jasmine Crockett went out of her way to fight for these people. She stood up against ICE and the deportations, and when she needed them at the election booth, they did not show up for her.
If she stood up for ICE and the deportations, and people keep saying that illegal immigrants don't vote, who's going to show up? Because uh, most Americans respect their citizenship, right? And even immigrants have a huge respect for the immigration process and it being followed. They are passionate about the process and people not being able to divert the process or expedite the process because they chose to do it wrong. So apparently, Jasmine Crockett doesn't share the same values as the people that she believes that she's advocating for. And here's another. Well, I'm not gonna get into that yet.
There's a lesson in that for the Congressional Black Caucus, Art. Start focusing on your own people and stop worrying about all these other groups because at the end of the day, they're not coming for you. Now,
I grew up in the city of Detroit. I grew up in the city of Detroit, and for as long as I was living in the city of Detroit was heavy with Black leadership. I saw the decline of the city of Detroit. I was a couple days years old when I learned that Detroit was one of the richest cities, like legit. I forget what year that was. It was in the 50s or 60s that Detroit was the richest city to live. It had the most wealthy people in it. And in 2010, beginning in 2010s, that turned over. Detroit has had Democratic leadership since the 1950s, and a lot of them were Black leaders, with the exception of what's my homeboy name? Um, what's his man's name? Y'all know his name. He just left. Him, him downstairs. So if the city didn't go in the right direction, who was responsible for that? I think about the Detroit public school system. I was still in the Detroit public school system before its utter failure, right? But there was something brewing and something happening the whole while I was in school. Like the school declined. It wasn't white people that destroyed Detroit public schools. It wasn't white people that embezzled the money. I'm not saying that none of them did. But what I'm saying is to the point about Black people and Black interest. Every time I looked around, it was somebody like me, somebody that looks like me, that was a part of the destruction and the demise of Black city of my Black city of Detroit. I'm not saying that's everybody. I'm not saying that's anybody. I'm saying we have to call a thing a thing. We just do. The mayor now, Mary Sheffield, I'm so excited. I love to see a woman who is poised, who is polished. I've not seen Mary Sheffield be combative. I've just in the times that I've seen her present well, and I'm really, really praying and hoping for a strong tenure for her as mayor. I'm hoping that there be strong accountability. I really want to see her win. I really do, with everything in me, because I'm such a fan of hers. I'm a fan. But it's been Black leaders. It's been Black Democratic leaders. Look at the mayor of Chicago. He literally has ran that city into the ground. And the way he gets out of it, racism, marginalized Black and brown people. No, you're a bad leader. And you've enriched yourself on the backs of the Black people that you claim to represent. Somebody got to call that out. That is very un-American. That is very crabs in a bucket. It's awful. We will come to such a place of power when we realize, right, how much we can make change in our own lives. And by making change in your own life and making change in your own home, you begin to shift a community. You begin to shift a lineage. You begin to shift your legacy. And then and only then will you see change. The government is not going to change anything. Oh, listen here. Listen here. The government is not looking to put itself out of business. That's why it doesn't make sense for Black people to have the mindset, what you gonna do for me? Then instead of understanding that the government works for you, you begin to work for the government. And I say this as a Black woman who has had access to or been a part of every social program known to man. So when I say what I say, I'm not just talking. I'm saying I've had the mindset. I know what it took to be in that place. And it was only the Spirit of God that changed my mind and caused me to come up out of it and see something different.
Here's the other problem that we have with the Congressional Black Caucus. I think Jasmine Crockett is guilty as well, but do not hold me to that. Half of the Congressional Black Caucus, Art, is financed by the American Israeli Public Interest Committee.
Racism is a poor man's sport. Racism is a poor man's game. Now, understand it makes people wealthy, but racism is a poor man's game. I know Whoopi Goldberg, Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, All these people sit back and tell you how hard it is to be black. Meanwhile, in their real life, they've amassed so much wealth, they've made money, or they're colorless. You do know the real issue is not racism, but it's classism. Because once you get once you amass enough wealth, do you think Bill Clinton is? I mean, not Bill Clinton. Do you think Bill Cosby is running around talking about how hard it is to be a black man? Hmm? Y'all thought Chili and Nick Cannon, y'all thought they was y'all cousin. I mean, now Nick Cannon make a new baby in every city, and somehow we saw him as this symbol of virtue, and he not for the people because he said something about the Democrats being the party of the KKK when number one is the truth. Come on now, y'all. And Chili, who did not just have black people buying her records, CDs, TLC had crossover power. They were a part of pop culture. Once you get so far, right, in society, ra- nobody concerned about race. It's do you have the money? I forget the name. I forget the lady's name, but this was a lady after Reconstruction who, oh my gosh, it was a black woman who paid the most taxes. She paid taxes in her state, and she paid enough taxes where it kept her state running. Do you think when she walked in that tax office, they was looking at her like, come in the back door, nigga? Oh, she was respected. She was notable. And this was in the 1800s. They was happy to see her coming and hated to see her going because she was their GDP. She was wealthy. She kept the town afloat. Racism is a poor man's sport that they use to to enslave people in their mind. They don't have to. It is amazing to me with sharing the things that I share and ideas that I share. It's amazing to me the number of black people who really believe that they're going to be enslaved again. And I just think like, oh my God, you believe you're going to be enslaved again, but you're not worried about the shackles on your mind right now today. That's what's scary to me. The shackles on your mind. Not that anybody will come put chains on you, but they're on your mind. My God, today. I Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, Whoopi Goldberg, all the women on The View, they got you thinking that it's hard to be black when they don't even have the black problems that you think you got.
Well, Public Affairs APAC, American Israeli Public Affairs Committee. Half of your black U.S. congresspersons are financed by the same Zionists who control Donald Trump. Think about it, Art. Why you don't hear a lot of black elected officials speaking out against the occupation of Palestine? You don't hear them talking like that. Think about it, Art. You might see one. Because you know what? APIC fund them too. Somebody asked me the other day, Art.
Because listen, the food stamps, the Medicaid, and the WIC and those things are not going to finance anything that they need. That's not going to pay for their political campaign. The things that they always associate with blackness. But what I want you to walk away with today is the reason that other immigrant populations don't come alongside to support the struggle of the black man is because other immigrant populations have figured out how to come to America and be Americans, while the civil rights movement have conditioned black people to be outsiders in a nation that they built. And Whose idea do you think that was to teach you or to condition you to be an outsider in your own nation? You think that was other black people? Do you think it was racist people that did that? Wasn't black people, wasn't racist people. I'm going to tell you what group it is. Marxist people, communist people. Only they would benefit from you being a slave in your own country, in your mind. Listen, I just wanted to react to that video. I really, really wish Jasmine Crockett could have won. I wish she had people around her that loved her enough to have a conversation with her and to tell her that, listen, I know you oppose Trump, but the reality of building an entire campaign around beating the president, that's not a very good campaign strategy. So, you know what people did? People siphoned and bled her. They took the salaries that she gave them and they didn't deliver, they didn't produce. She didn't even have a platform. So it's not white supremacy that's the issue. It's not anything that was mentioned in that first video. Some of what he's saying is true. But the sad part is we can't even sit down and have a conversation to say, "Hey, sis, this is where you need to go left. This is where you need to go right." Like, I know you're passionate about this, but you don't have to be combative. Like, we might not like who's in the seat, but we respect authority. Talking about racism, talking more about slave catchers and all of these, all of these things associated with slavery more than Barbara Jordan did, who was closer to Jim Crow than you ever will be. That's probably not the winning ticket. Probably not. Don't say disparaging thing about immigrant people groups. Like they have a slave mentality if they vote for Donald Trump. And maybe you should pick your battles. You arguing and hooting and hollering and yelling with ICE, but then if ICE shows up at the voting booth, those people can't even vote for you. You have to be as wise as a serpent and as gentle as a dove. Guess what? James Tallarico was that because he gonna shove something that if he wins, well, he's shoving something down people's throat currently. He is sinister. Okay, he is evil, but he's doing it softly. He's doing it in a way that he is an angel with the appearance of light. He is a form of godliness denying the power thereof. Jasmine Crockett progressing in the race for Senate would have caused more people to vote for Republicans. It's about strategy. Even though Barack Hussein Obama came out and said, "Hey, I know I told y'all to vote for color when I said vote for Kamala, but don't vote for color when it comes to Jasmine Crockett. Vote for party because it's about power and not color. They only want to use race against you. They want to incite violence against you as it relates to race when it's comfortable for them because it's about maintaining power." Think about that. Follow me on all my social media platforms. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on I'm not on X. I don't understand X, to be quite honest. I used to like Twitter, but I don't understand it. I don't understand X. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on subscribe to me on YouTube and follow me on I'm on Threads also. Shaniqua Speaks at Shaniqua Speaks. I love y'all. Think about what I said. Remember, you come in my comments. I'm gonna meet you and I'm gonna greet you. And then when you make me when you get there, I'm gonna say, go in peace now. Go in peace. Okay. Love y'all. Bye.